The day he showed up with his mistress's prenatal test report and forced me to divorce him. He thought I would break down, cry, beg him to stay. But I didn't cry. I didn't argue. Right in front of him, I revised the divorce agreement and personally added one more zero to the amount. He mocked me for being greedy, not knowing that was only the first cut. Later, I exposed the evidence, froze the accounts, and cut off his most critical resources. Watching him fall step by step from the top. At the class reunion, Lucas sat beside me, his arm resting casually on the back of my chair. Everyone was praising him. "Evelyn, you're so lucky." I smiled and took a sip of water. Megan was sitting across from us. She was a new intern at Lucas's company, 22 years old, wearing a white dress. She said she was visiting Boston and just happened to hear about the reunion. Lucas hadn't told me she would be there. After a few rounds of drinks, someone started urging a toast to me. I have a bad stomach. Everyone at the table knew that. Lucas immediately picked up my glass and smiled gently. "I'll drink for her." The female classmates let out envious sighs. Lucas raised the glass and blurted out, "I'll drink for you, Meg." The table went dead silent. The clink of knives and forks stopped. Every gaze shifted, from Lucas to me, and finally to Megan. "My name is Evelyn." Megan's face flushed red. She lowered her head, twisting her napkin like a child who had made a mistake. Lucas's hand froze midair. 2 seconds later, he set the glass down. His voice was dry. Project name slipped out. "I've been working with Megan nonstop on the new energy project lately." I picked up the glass and drained the remaining half of red wine in one gulp. "It's fine," I said with a smile, looking at Megan. "Interns work hard running projects. Lucas often praises you at home for being meticulous." Megan looked up. There was a light in her eyes I had never seen before. The classmates hurried to smooth things over. Shifting the topic to renewable energy, Lucas leaned close to my ear and whispered, "It really was just a slip of the tongue." I nodded and kept cutting my steak. The gathering ended. In the parking lot, Lucas opened the car door. I didn't get in. "Evelyn, don't start," he said, impatience creeping into his voice. "I'm not," I replied. "You should take Megan back to her hotel first. It's not safe for a young woman alone." Megan stood not far away, the streetlight stretching her shadow long across the ground. Lucas stared at me, as if trying to figure out whether I was being sarcastic. Finally, he nodded. "Then take a cab home. Be careful." He walked toward Megan. I watched him open the passenger door for her, one hand shielding the roof. He used to do that only for me. A taxi arrived. I got in and gave the address. The driver glanced at me in the rearview mirror. "Ma'am, are you okay?" I touched my face and realized I was smiling. "I'm fine," I said. I just suddenly figured something out. Outside the window, Boston's nightscape sped past. In my mind, I crossed Lucas's name off my list. At 2 in the morning, my phone rang. It was my mother. Her voice was shaking uncontrollably. "Your dad, cerebral hemorrhage, he's been rushed to the ER." I ran out of the house. It was raining. I called Lucas. Busy signal. Again, busy. The 7th time. It went straight to voicemail. I burst into the emergency hall, soaked through. One shoe missing. At the corner, I ran straight into them. Lucas was holding Megan. She was wearing a hospital gown, her arm wrapped in bandages, curled up in his arms. He was shouting at the nurse. "She's in a lot of pain. Give her painkillers first." The nurse tried to explain the ER triage process. Lucas saw me. He frowned. "What are you doing here?" "My dad," my voice was hoarse. "Cerebral hemorrhage, then go to neurology," he said coldly. "Why are you blocking the way here?" Megan whimpered softly. "Lucas, I'm in so much pain." He immediately lowered his head, his voice turning gentle. "It's okay. It'll be fine. Soon." I reached out to grab him. He shook my hand off. "Can you be reasonable?" he hissed. "Megan was in a car accident. Her arm might be fractured. What about my dad?" My voice trembled. "He might be dying." Lucas took out his phone. He dialed 3 digits. "Hello," he said. "I'd like to report an incident. My wife is threatening me in the emergency room." "Yes. Emotionally unstable. Possibly violent." "The address is..." I stood frozen. The police arrived quickly. They took me away. Lucas never looked at me once. I was detained for 7 days. On the morning of the 7th day, a police officer opened the door. Someone posted bail for you. I thought it was him. It was a lawyer instead. A stranger. MS. Evelyn. The lawyer handed me some documents. Your father's attending physician contacted me. Your father is currently in the ICU and temporarily stable. Also, your husband has frozen your joint accounts. I signed. My hand didn't shake. Thank you, I said. There's one more thing I'd like to retain you for. The corridor of the detention center was long. My heels clicked crisply against the floor. Everything at home looked the same. My slippers were still by the door. Lucas's suits hung in the closet. The air still carried the scent of his usual cologne. He was sitting on the couch, watching financial news. You're back? He said calmly, like asking about the weather. I said nothing. Evelyn. He turned off the TV. I think you need to see a psychiatrist. Your behavior in the ER was not normal. I looked at him. Megan is just an intern. He continued. I take care of her because of work. Your reaction that day was hysterical. I'm very disappointed. I laughed. What are you laughing at? Nothing. I said. You're right. I might really have a problem. He froze. He had expected tears. Shouting. Things being thrown. I went into the bathroom. Showered. Changed clothes. When I came out, he was still there. He hesitated. Do you want something to eat? No. I said. I'm not hungry. Then get some rest. He stood up. I'll sleep in the guest room tonight. Okay. At the door, he turned back. Evelyn, are you really okay? I'm fine. I smiled. Good night. The door closed. I lay down on the bed. My phone lit up. It was a message from Megan. Evelyn. I'm sorry. This is all my fault. Please don't blame Lucas. He really just treats me like a little sister. I didn't reply. 5 minutes later, another message came. If you're angry, I can quit my job. I still didn't reply. At 1 a.m, Lucas pushed the door open and came in. He stood by the bed for a long time. Silent. Evelyn, he said at last. There's really nothing between Megan and me. Don't be like this. I kept my eyes closed, my breathing steady. He stood there for 10 minutes. In the end, he left. The next morning, breakfast was already set on the table. Fried eggs, bacon, coffee. Lucas sat down and looked at me. You made this? Yeah, I said. Eat it while it's hot. He hesitated, like he wanted to say something. I picked up my bag. I'm going to the hospital to see my dad. I might be back late. He suddenly stood up. I'll take you. No need, I said. Go to work. Don't delay things. I walked out. In the elevator mirror, my face was calm, like a pool of dead water. There was a company gathering, and I attended as Lucas's spouse. Lucas drank a lot. He kept an arm around my waist, introducing me to colleagues. My wife, Evelyn. People smiled and flattered us. A perfect match. Megan was there too. She sat at the next table, her head lowered the entire time. When it ended, I called a designated driver. Lucas leaned against my shoulder, reeking of alcohol. The phone rang. It was his phone. The screen lit up, Megan calling. He sobered up a little and glanced at me. Answer it, I said. It might be something important. He picked up. I couldn't hear what she said. Only Megan's crying, loud, panicked. Lucas's expression changed. A car accident? Where are you? Are you hurt? He stood up and looked at me. Go, I said. Saving someone comes first. He hesitated. But I'll take a cab, I said, pulling out my phone. Send me the address. I'll help you call an ambulance. Megan's sobbing spilled from the receiver. Lucas. I'm scared. There's blood. Lucas grabbed his jacket. Evelyn. I'm sorry. I have to go. She's just a girl. Go. I repeated. But don't drive. You've been drinking. He was already rushing out. I chased him to the door. It was raining outside. Lucas, I shouted. He turned back. Irritation all over his face. What now? You've been drinking, I said. That's DUI. At a time like this, you still care about that? He yelled. She's bleeding. He ran toward the parking lot. I watched him start the car, the tires skidding on the wet ground before he sped off. The driver I'd called arrived. "Ma'am, where's the car?" "Cancel it," I said. "Thank you." I stood by the road for a long time. Today was our 7th wedding anniversary. It was also Lucas's birthday. I had ordered a cake. His favorite, Black Forest. The candles were numbers 7 and 31. 7 o'clock. He didn't come back. 8 o'clock. I called. No answer. 9 o'clock. The door opened. He came in and froze when he saw the cake on the table. Today, he rubbed his temples. "Sorry. I was busy and forgot." "It's fine," I said. "Let's eat the cake." He walked over. His phone rang again. "Megan, again." He glanced at me and stepped onto the balcony to answer it. I heard him say, "Don't cry." "I'll be right there." He came back, looking troubled. "Evelyn, over at Megan's place, she's emotionally falling apart. I need to go check on her. Today is our anniversary," I said. "And your birthday." "I know." His voice softened. "But she's all alone." "I'm afraid she'll do something stupid." I smiled. "Go." Relief washed over his face. He kissed my forehead. "I'll be back soon." He left. I sat there for a while, then stood up and followed him downstairs. The rain had stopped. The streetlights in the complex were dim. I saw his car parked by the curb. The passenger door was open. Megan stood there. She was wearing a white sweater, holding a small cake with a single candle. "Happy birthday," she said. "Even if it's a bit late." Lucas looked at her. His eyes soft in a way I hadn't seen in years. "How did you know?" "It's on your resume." Megan smiled. "Make a wish." He closed his eyes. She sang the birthday song, quietly, but clearly. He blew out the candle. She dipped a finger into the frosting and dabbed it on the tip of his nose. He laughed, an easy, relaxed laugh I hadn't seen from him in years. They hugged. Megan rested her head on his shoulder. His hand patted her back. I stood behind a tree, watching. My phone vibrated. It was my mom. "Your dad woke up. He wants to see you." I turned off the phone. I took one last look at the two figures embracing, then turned around and went home. While sorting through old things, I found a small metal box. Inside was a medical record. The date was 7 years ago, when we had just started our business. Back then, Lucas was still broke. To secure investments, he drank and socialized constantly. Once, a client kept forcing drinks on him. I stepped in to block it. That night, I threw up all night. The next morning, I started bleeding. A lot. In the ER. The doctor said coldly, 6 weeks pregnant and you didn't even know? And you drank that much? I froze. Lucas froze too. When he signed the surgery consent, his hand was shaking. Afterward, the doctor pulled me aside. "Severe damage to the endometrium. Future pregnancy, the chances are very low." I lay in the hospital bed, staring at the ceiling. Lucas came in with red eyes, took my hand. "Evelyn, I'm sorry. I'll make it up to you. We won't have kids. I only want you." I believed him. I quit my job and became a full-time wife. I handled everything behind the scenes so he could focus on building his career. For 7 years, we never mentioned children again. Every time his parents asked, he blocked them. We want to enjoy life as a couple. I thought he was protecting me, until Megan appeared, until I heard him say to a friend over drinks, "It's better without kids. Less trouble." At the bottom of the metal box was an ultrasound report. In the blurry black and white image, there was a tiny gestational sac. I touched the paper. Then I laughed. "My child, you came at the wrong time, but mommy will make you the final weapon." The sunlight was bright in the residential garden. I pushed my father's wheelchair, taking him out for a walk. He was recovering well, already able to speak simple sentences. "Evelyn," he pointed at the flowers. "Pretty." "Yeah." I squatted down. "When you're better, we'll plant some ourselves." Then I saw Megan. She was wearing a hospital gown, her hair messy, tear stains on her face. She staggered toward me. I stood up. With a thud, she dropped to her knees in front of me. Neighbors out for walks all stopped to stare. "Sister," she clutched my pant leg, her voice shrill. "Please, give Lucas back to me. I know I was wrong, but I really love him." I can't control myself. I took a step back. She started slapping herself, hard, over and over. "I'm disgusting." I have no shame, she screamed, tears streaming. But I'm pregnant. Sister, I'm carrying his child. Gasps ran through the crowd. Someone pulled out their phone to take pictures. My dad struggled in his wheelchair, making soft ah sounds. I crouched down and grabbed her hands as she struck herself. Megan, I said gently, you're pregnant? She nodded, sobbing. 2 months. Sister, the baby didn't do anything wrong, I laughed. What a coincidence, I said. I've been pregnant too. She froze. I stood and looked at the neighbors watching. Could someone please call the police? This woman is mentally unstable and may need help. Someone pulled out a phone. Megan's face changed. How can you be so cold? Lucas's car barreled into the driveway. He jumped out, pushing through the crowd, and scooped Megan into his arms. What's going on? What happened? Megan buried her face in his chest. Lucas. I just wanted my sister to forgive me, and she yelled at me, even threatened to call the cops. Lucas's eyes snapped to me. I see. Evelyn. Enough. She's already like this. What more do you want? I pushed my dad's wheelchair, preparing to leave. Stop, Lucas said. You're apologizing to Megan today. No excuses. I turned to look at him. Apologize? I said. Fine. But you apologize to my dad first, for those 7 hours in the ER when he nearly died that night. Lucas went pale. Megan was still crying. The baby, our baby, the neighbors whispered among themselves. Some shook their heads. Some rolled their eyes. I pushed the wheelchair and left. Lucas's voice followed me. Evelyn, you'll regret this. I went to Lucas's office. The receptionist recognized me and didn't try to stop me. I walked straight in. He was talking to Megan, standing close. Seeing me, he frowned. What are you doing here? Let's talk, I said. About your intern being pregnant. Megan went pale. Lucas stood. Let's step outside. Right here, I said, pulling out a chair. I'm your legal wife. I have the right to know whose child your intern is carrying. Everyone else in the office perked up. Lucas lowered his voice. Evelyn, don't make a scene here. Then speak clearly. I raised my voice. Megan, whose baby is it? Megan cried. Sister, don't make me. Lucas grabbed my wrist. Are you crazy? I shook him off and pulled out my phone. I'm not crazy. I'm here to notify you. I've reported you to HR for abusing your position and having an improper relationship with an intern. The office went silent. Lucas stared at me, like I was a stranger. Then he smiled. Fine, he said. If you want to play, let's play. He pulled out his phone and dialed. Lawyer Wang. Come over. Bring the documents from before. 20 minutes later, a sharp, middle-aged woman arrived. MS. Evelyn. The lawyer handed me a file. This is a statement from your husband, proving that you repeatedly lost control during your marriage and threatened him. We also have surveillance footage of you attacking someone in the ER. I took the documents. Now you have 2 options, the lawyer said. 1. Publicly apologize to MS. Megan and admit your claims were defamatory. 2. We report you to the police for defamation and threats. Lucas looked at me. Choose. I flipped to the last page. A hospital stamp confirmed Megan was indeed pregnant. I choose a 3rd option, I said. Call the police. The officers came, again. The same 2 as before. They examined the documents, the surveillance footage, and then said, Ma'am, please come with us. I was taken away. This time, again. 7 days. 7 days later, I came out. The world had changed. Social media feeds were full of articles, warning, paranoid personality in marriage. How to deal with emotional abuse from a partner. The accompanying photo was a blurry image of me being escorted from the ER. Lucas was now the victim. Colleagues and friends sympathized with him. Married a crazy wife, poor guy. Accusing an intern of being pregnant? That's cruel. Mom called, sobbing, struggling to breathe. Your dad saw the news, he's back in the ICU. I went to the hospital. The doctor handed me the bill. The account is still frozen. If payment isn't made, we'll have to stop treatment. I called Lucas. He answered. Background noise like a bar. What's up? My dad's medical fees. Oh, he said. Then apologize publicly first. Once you do, I'll unfreeze the accounts. I stayed silent. Evelyn. He laughed. You can't beat me. I hung up. Then I called another number. Lawyer Chin. I said, I accept your proposal. Let's start. A calm female voice answered, Are you sure? Yes. What's the first step? An apology. I said, Public. Sincere. Lawyer Chin laughed. Good. I'll draft it for you. That night, I registered a new Weibo account. Name, Lucas's wife. First post, I'm sorry, I apologize to my husband, Lucas. To MS. Megan. To everyone who cares about us. I was emotionally unstable. Because I lost our first child. Because while my father was in the ER, my husband was with someone else. Because my husband of 7 years went to celebrate someone else's birthday on our anniversary. But that's no excuse. I was wrong. I will undergo psychological treatment. I will strive to be a normal person. Thank you, everyone. I clicked send. 10 minutes later, the post had over 10,000 shares. Public opinion began to turn. In the psychiatrist's office, sunlight poured in. I sat on the couch. Calm. Yes. I've been sleeping much better lately. No more nightmares. The doctor nodded. Good. Besides medication, I suggest developing hobbies to shift your focus. For example, flower arranging, baking, yoga, anything. I smiled. Okay, I'll try. The next day, I signed up for a flower arrangement class. The day after, I started baking. On the fourth day, I posted photos on social media, flowers arranged, cookies baked. Caption, New life, new beginning. Lucas liked the post. That night, he came home. The first time this week. He stood in the kitchen doorway and watched me bake cookies. Evelyn, he said, what you posted on Weibo, everything's true. I said, putting cookies in the oven. But I've let it go. The doctor was right, people have to move forward. He was silent for a moment. Me and Megan, he started. No need to explain. I interrupted. I trust you. She's just an intern. He studied me, as if trying to see if I was acting. I handed him a cookie. Try it. Fresh out of the oven. He took it and bit. Good? Yeah, that's good. I smiled. From now on, I'll bake for you every day. He suddenly hugged me. Evelyn. His voice low, muffled. Let's start over, okay? I patted his back gently. Okay. That night, he slept in the master bedroom. Around midnight, his phone buzzed. Megan. He glanced at it and dismissed it. I pretended to sleep. The next morning, I straightened his tie. Company celebration tonight. Don't forget. He said, dress nicely. Okay. After he left, I opened my laptop. There was a new email from Lawyer Chin. The attachments contained hotel records of Lucas and Megan, 7 times. Project fund transfers from the company, 6 went to Megan's personal account. Megan's prenatal report. 8 weeks. Blood type matches Lucas. Scanned copies of my miscarriage medical records. My father's ER records from that night. Police report from my previous detention. I saved and encrypted each file. Then I opened another folder. Inside, lease contract for a flower shop in Seattle. My father's transfer request to another hospital. My plane ticket, one-way. Draft divorce agreement. Property division clause, I take 80%. I closed the laptop. My phone buzzed. Megan. Sis. She said, sweetly, I'll be at the celebration tonight too. Lucas said he wants to introduce me to all the executives. Great. I said, congratulations. You're not mad? Not at all. I smiled. We're family. What's there to be mad about? She paused a few seconds and hung up. The celebration was in a 5-star hotel ballroom. I wore a black evening gown, simple, but perfectly tailored. Lucas's eyes lit up when he saw me. Beautiful, he said. Thanks. He wrapped an arm around my waist as we walked in. The lights sparkled. Champagne flowed. Megan was there too, in a bright red dress, standing out, holding a wine glass, weaving through the crowd like the hostess. Lucas went on stage to give a speech, thanking the team, thanking clients. At the end, he said, special thanks to my wife, Evelyn, for always supporting me. The spotlight hit me. I smiled and raised my glass. Applause thundered. Megan stood below the stage, gripping her wine glass tightly. After the speech, the dinner began. I chatted with a few executives' wives. Boring conversation. But my smile was perfect. That's when the delivery guy came in. He carried a carefully wrapped gift box and approached the main table. Is this Mr. Lucas? Lucas stood. Yes. Your package. Please sign. Lucas frowned. I didn't order anything. The sender says it's a congratulatory gift. People around cheered. Open it. Open it. Lucas glanced at me. I shook my head. No idea. He opened the package. Inside was a transparent acrylic box. White velvet lining. On the velvet lay a tiny glass vial containing tissue preserved in formalin. Label handwritten, 6-week pregnancy. Miscarriage tissue. A prenatal report. Name, Evelyn. Date, 7 years ago. Surgical consent form. Signature line, Lucas. An ultrasound photo. Handwritten on the back, baby. I'm sorry. A note, in memory of our lost child. And our lost marriage. The entire room went silent. All eyes were on the box. Lucas's hand trembled. He looked up at me. I sat still. Unmoving. No tears. Megan was the first to react. She rushed forward. Shrill, what is this? Evelyn, did you do this on purpose? You want to ruin the celebration. She reached for the box. Lucas grabbed her wrist, gripping tightly. Shut up, he said. Megan froze. Lucas. I said shut up. He yelled. The ballroom was so quiet. You could hear a pin drop. Lucas stared at me, lips trembling. You've been keeping this all along? I stood and picked up the microphone. My voice came through the speakers. Calm, I didn't want to say this today, but since the gift arrived, I'll explain. Everyone watched me. 7 years ago. I was pregnant. 6 weeks. I miscarried after helping Lucas fend off clients at a drinking event. The doctor said I might never get pregnant again. Lucas said it didn't matter, he only wanted me. I believed him. So I quit my job, became a full-time wife, and supported his career. For 7 years. I never mentioned children. I didn't want to upset him, until I found out his intern was pregnant. 8 weeks. Then I understood. It's not that he didn't want children. He just didn't want my child. I put the microphone down. I picked up my bag and turned to leave. Chaos erupted behind me. Megan screamed, "No, don't listen to her. She's insane." Lucas shouted, "Security, get her out." Camera shutters clicked endlessly. The elevator doors closed. In the mirror, my makeup was perfect. Not a single tear. Finally, he finally knew. He finally lost something. I headed straight to the airport. The flight to Seattle was at midnight. I sat in the waiting lounge, scrolling through my phone. The trending hashtags had exploded. Hashtag Lucas miscarriage, hashtag intern pregnant, hashtag celebration scandal. I clicked in. The feed was full of live videos, close-ups of the box. My speech. Megan screaming. Lucas losing his composure. The comments were unanimous. Poor wife, scumbag. Die. That intern is disgusting. A mistress and still so arrogant. I shut my phone, boarded the plane, took off. Outside the window, Boston's lights faded into the distance. Goodbye. Never again. At 3 a.m., Lucas returned home. He stormed into the bedroom, opened the closet. Half my clothes were gone. The jewelry box empty. My passport missing. He called me repeatedly. The phone was off. He opened WeChat and sent a message, "Evelyn, we need to talk." Red exclamation mark. Blocked. He collapsed onto the sofa, hands covering his face. The living room lights suddenly flicked on. He looked up. No one was there. Just a timer switch. He let out a bitter laugh, muttering to himself, "You even set the lights." The doorbell rang. He jumped up, ran to the door. "Evelyn." Outside stood 2 strangers, a man and a woman, both in suits. "Mr. Lucas? We are from Chin Associates. On behalf of MS. Evelyn, we are delivering the divorce agreement." They handed him a folder. Lucas didn't take it. The female lawyer placed it on the entryway table. "The agreement includes a property list and division plan. Please sign within 72 hours. Otherwise, we will initiate legal action." "Where is she?" Lucas asked. "No comment. I want to see her. MS. Evelyn says that's unnecessary." The lawyers left. Lucas opened the folder. Page 1, 3 properties, all belong to Evelyn. Page 2, all bank accounts, Evelyn. Page 3, company shares, 40% transferred to Evelyn. Page 4, emotional damages, $5 million. He laughed until he cried. He grabbed his phone and called Megan. When she picked up, he shouted, "Happy now? I have nothing left." Megan sobbed, "Lucas, the company is going to fire me. What do I do? You deserve it." He hung up. Then he collapsed onto the floor, staring at the ceiling. For the first time, he realized he had lost her completely. Seattle's rainy season arrived. My flower shop was on the corner, named New Life. Dad helped in the store, slowly, but happily. "Evelyn," he said, pointing to a pot of orchids. "Beautiful." "Yeah, someone will pick it up tomorrow." The wind chime at the door jingled. I looked up. My smile froze. Lucas was there, thin, unshaven, his suit wrinkled. "Evelyn," he rasped. "I've been looking for you for a month." I didn't respond. "Let's talk," he said. "Just 10 minutes." "No need." I was wrong. He stepped forward. "I really know I was wrong. Megan and I are done. She's been fired. I want nothing else. Just you." I arranged the flowers without looking at him. "My dad needs rest," I said. "Don't make a scene here." He glanced at Dad, who was bending over, trimming leaves, hands trembling. Lucas drew a deep breath. "Fine. Let's go outside and talk." We stepped into the drizzle. "Evelyn," he said, looking at me, "I quit my job in Boston. I found a new company in Seattle. We can start over." "Why would you think," I asked, "I'd ever want you back?" He froze. "Just because you apologized?" I smiled. "Lucas, when my dad was in the ICU, you froze the accounts. When I lost our child, you said it was less trouble. When your intern got pregnant, you said I was crazy. Our marriage ended long ago." I said, "Now all you need to worry about is signing the papers. If not, see you in court." His face went pale. "You really want to do this?" "Yes." We stood in silence. Then he suddenly smiled. "Fine. You want money, I'll give it. Houses, bank accounts, shares, all yours. But I have one condition." "What condition?" "You meet me once. Just us. A proper dinner. Think of it as farewell." I looked at him. "Okay. You pick the time and place." "One last time." His eyes lit up. "Tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. I'll be at." Before he could finish, someone dashed across the street. It was Megan, soaked, hair plastered to her face, like a ghost. "Lucas!" she screamed. "You really came for her? What about me? Our child?" Lucas pushed her back. "You followed me?" "I didn't follow you. How would I know you were such a jerk?" Megan cried. "You said you loved me. You said you'd marry me." "I was drunk," Lucas shouted. "Can you stop acting crazy?" "Crazy?" Megan laughed hysterically. "Who was it in my bed saying Evelyn can't have kids? Who said once her dad dies, the inheritance is all yours?" Passers-by stopped and raised their phones. Lucas's face went stone cold. "You're lying." "Am I lying?" Megan pulled out a voice recorder and hit play. Lucas's drunken voice filled the air. "Evelyn's dad, hope he dies soon, at least. A few million in inheritance, then I'll divorce and marry you." The recording ended. Lucas froze. I pulled out my phone and dialed, "Hello. I want to report harassment and threats in public." Megan snatched the phone and smashed it on the ground. "Evelyn, this is all your fault." She lunged at me. "You ruined everything." Lucas restrained her. They struggled. Sirens approached. The police arrived and separated them. "What's going on?" I picked up the broken phone, it still worked, and pointed at Megan. "She's been stalking and harassing me and my family. I have recording evidence." Then I pointed at Lucas. "This is my husband. Their dispute is unrelated to me." The police looked at Lucas. "Do you know this woman?" Lucas looked at Megan like she was trash. "No. She probably has mental issues." Megan's eyes went wide. Then she laughed. Loud, hysterical, terrifying. Good. "Lucas, you really did it." The police led her away. Lucas turned to me. "The recording, I'll give it to my lawyer," I said, "for the divorce case as supplemental evidence." He closed his eyes. "As for dinner," I said, "cancelled." I turned and walked back to the flower shop. The wind chime rang. The door closed. Through the glass, I saw him standing in the rain, motionless, like a statue crumbling. A week later, Attorney Chin called. Megan agreed to settle. She said, the condition is she won't sue for harassment. Also, she provided some important information. What information? Lucas has been cooking the books at his company, transferring assets. She has the evidence. What does she want? $100,000 and a plane ticket out of the country. I thought for a moment. Give it to her, but I get the evidence first. Understood. 3 days later, a USB drive arrived. It contained detailed financial records, all signed by Lucas. At the same time, the news exploded. Tech executive accused of financial fraud, placed on administrative leave. The article included a photo of Lucas being escorted out of his company. Another week passed. Just before closing the flower shop, Megan showed up. She was emaciated, her belly slightly protruding. I'm leaving, she said. Early flight tomorrow. Safe travels. She stared at me. Evelyn, you won, but you haven't really won. What do you mean? You think Lucas really loved you? She laughed bitterly. He doesn't love anyone. He only loves himself. He pursued you because your dad could help him start his business. Now he's back because you hold leverage over him. I stayed silent. But I'm different. She touched her belly. I'm carrying his child. That's an eternal bond. You can never erase it. I set down my pruning shears. Megan, I said, do you know why you lost? She looked at me. Because you think a child is a weapon. I said, but to me, a child is a wound. You tried to hold my wound to manipulate and compete, and that's why you lost from the start. Her face went pale. Also, I stepped closer. Is that child really Lucas's? She recoiled. What do you mean? I checked your hotel records. I said, during the same nights you were with Lucas, there was someone else. Want me to name names? Her whole body trembled. Go, I said, and don't come back. She ran. The wind chime rattled violently. I sat down and resumed trimming flowers. My phone vibrated. It was Lucas. He sent a long message full of apologies, confessions, and promises. I read half, then deleted it. Then I blocked his number. Outside, Seattle's rain still fell, but I knew the rainy season always ends. The final divorce agreement sat in front of me. Attorney Chin explained item by item. 3 properties, transferred to your name. Bank accounts, fully transferred. Company shares, 40% moved into a trust under your control. Emotional damages, $5 million. Already deposited. I signed. Also, Chin continued, based on Megan's evidence of financial fraud, Lucas may face criminal charges. He agreed to forfeit all assets in exchange for you not assisting prosecutors. Where is he? He moved out of your marital home yesterday. Staying at a hotel now. Chin paused. He wants to see you one last time. Says he has something he must say in person. I considered it. Fine. The meeting place, the cafe where we had our first date. It had already closed and was under renovation. He stood in front of the ruins. Thin and fragile. Evelyn. He turned around, holding a velvet box. This is for you. It was the watch I had given him years ago. Cheap, but he wore it for 7 years. No need. I said. Throw it away. He gave a bitter smile. You really don't want to keep anything? Nothing. Silence. Evelyn. He choked. If we could start over, no ifs. I interrupted. Even if we did, you'd still choose Megan. That's who you are. His eyes were red. I'm leaving. I said. Take care. Wait. He called after me. Will you be happy? I looked back at him. Yes. I said. Because my happiness has nothing to do with you anymore. He cried. I didn't look back and walked to the car waiting at the street corner. Dad was inside. Heading home? He asked. Yeah. I started the engine. Home. In the rearview mirror, Lucas stood there, shrinking in the distance until he disappeared. Red light. I took out my phone and deleted the last photo of him. Then I opened my contacts and renamed him, deceased. Green light. The traffic moved forward. 1 year later, spring arrived in Seattle. I had opened a second branch of the flower shop. Dad's health had improved. He could even garden again. One afternoon, I was arranging flowers. The wind chime rang. A young man walked in, wearing a denim jacket, holding a camera. "Hi," he smiled. "I'd like to buy a bouquet." "For whom?" I asked. "For someone starting over." I looked at him. He blushed. "Actually, for myself. I got divorced today." I nodded and picked some sunflowers and white roses, paired with eucalyptus. While wrapping them, he asked, "Boss, are you married?" I shook my head. "Then, do you have a boyfriend?" I smiled and handed him the bouquet. "Not right now. Maybe in the future, if fate allows." He paid and went to the door, then looked back. "Can I come buy flowers here again?" "You're always welcome." He left. I went to the window. Sunlight fell on the petals, warm and bright. My phone rang. It was Attorney Chin. "Evelyn, the last trust disbursement has arrived. Your account balance is now." She gave me a number. I smiled. "Thank you." Also, Lucas's case goes to trial next week. He may face prison time. Anything you want me to tell him? I can pass it on. I thought for a moment. "No," I said. "Exes should stay silent, like they're dead." I hung up. I picked up the watering can and tended the flowers. Droplets sparkled in the sunlight. Outside, people passed by. Couples held hands. Married couples argued. Children ran laughing. And I stood there, in my flower shop, in my life. No longer anyone's wife. No longer anyone's accessory. I was just Evelyn. My own Evelyn. The wind chime rang again. I didn't look up. Just kept watering the flowers. But I knew. The spring that belonged to me had finally arrived.